I don't like this whole Black National Anthem thing.
What's the Black National Anthem thing?
See?
What's that?
Well, it's newer the last couple of years, and it's at the Super Bowl, and it's been at a couple of major sporting events, and it's Lift Every Voice, and that's sung now before the national anthem.
Okay.
And it's called the Black National Anthem.
Okay, it's a blantham.
It's a blantham. Let's call it that. Hashtag blantham. Maybe if it were that, I would not think it was so ridiculous
Then it
and
would
like
change your
divisive.
mind. It's an aesthetic thing.
Yes, totally. Put the hashtag, we're good, I'm cool.
No,
but like to me, and again, I'm sensitive because I've been told you're not enough, and then it's like, dude, we're one big melting pot. This is good. Why are we now choosing to separate again when we've been in a tough time here the past several years to say this is only our anthem, but you all better stand up. Get your ass up. You better stand up.
Yeah.
And I think we're all like, we're Americans.
Yeah.
And it's our anthem. And all the immigrants from across the world that have come here stand up for our anthem. They're all Americans.
Yeah.
What's your thought?
Well, I mean, it reminds me of, I agree with you in that I think that.
First of all, the fact that you didn't even know, like, what's that? The Black National Anthem. Because it's new and they're shoving it down people's throats. What are we doing? Yeah.
Well, I think it's also, I don't really watch sports, but I think what it is it's like when BLM first started, I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, that's cool. And then so there was like a 4-month period where that was really cool.
Yeah. And
then it got quantified and kind of reduced and then of course weaponized by conservative racists or whatever that started using the term woke and misappropriating the term, and then it evolved and evolved.
But to the point where we now know that it was sadly BS and the money never went to actually help people.
Yes, exactly.
Who needed it. So,
exactly.
So I'm glad we blew that up because it was a farce.
No, that was fine. But I mean, yes, and that's great. But even if that had not happened, I think there was a problem with it. The problem is that when you isolate and you say that this is this, and you're like, and so therefore society has to change and adapt to this. The problem with it is that it makes people feel like they're being forced to do something. And that's exactly the point of people who are xenophobic or racist or whatever. They're like, see, look, these people want to do this and they want to take over our blah, 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 all these. It doesn't really, to me, it wasn't helpful. It wasn't helpful. To me, what's helpful is strong, intelligent voices speaking on notions of compassion, talking about science and art, the act of doing in a naturalistic, earnest way is more effective. I say this for all marginalized communities. Like all my queer friends I know, I'm like, isn't it nice when someone's just queer in a movie and it's not like, oh, you're queer?
Yes.
They just happen to be queer, but they work at the same job and they're not like the sassy guy. I was just talking to my friend yesterday. He's like, if I have to audition as another sassy gay man, a Latino gay man, I'm gonna barf. And I'm like, yeah, it gets old after a while. It's like, oh, can you be the sassy black secretary? Can you be the sassy
attitude, the angry black woman?
Yeah, it's like, well, you ain't gonna be the whatever. All that. It's like, that's fine. Those types of people do exist. However, they're a small portion of how people function every day in society. And we just need to have, instead of being like, isn't it crazy that it was a woman that did this? It's like, just cast the woman in the role and tell the story.
Right.
Stop with the I just think it doesn't do anything to help. And all my queer friends, all my friends of the whole spectrum of the rainbow, kind of all agree with this. It's just not, one of the biggest compliments I ever got was when I went to London. I speak in an English accent a lot of times when I'm going around just being who I am. And so when I'm in London, I'm always talking like this, right, on stage. And it's it shifts a bit. It's like different regions of the UK, but I'm speaking like this. So the one thing that was really interesting is that when I started doing my shows, I did it in a British accent because as a kid, I used to watch a lot of PBS and I used to imitate British accents. So coming to London for the first time, I was nervous because I just wanted to, but I also didn't want them to think that I was making fun of them or marginalizing their culture or whatever. And I did that and, did my whole show. And then this Indian, I think it was a Pakistani English kid came up. He's a badass drummer, and I think he was the guy who played, if you know the Massive Attack album, Mezzanine. There's this song. It's got this sick like frame drum beat. That's like that's the drummer guy. And he came up to me and he was like, "You know what I like about you?" And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "I like that you're a really funny and talented performer on stage that happens to be Black." And that was like a huge compliment to me.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, exactly. That's how it should always how it should always be. That's why, like, sometimes I'll do comedy and I'll do like, you know how Black people be doing this and white people be doing this, and I'll talk about like Black people. You know, it's like, you know how Black people always, you know how Black people always be like getting up in the morning and they might like see a glass of water or something like that, and then they take a drink from it. You know how they always be doing that shit? Or you know how a white person, like, they'll drop a pencil and they'll pick it up. You know, like
I can't.
you know what I mean? Like,
I can't.
it's just after